Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tips. My name is Julian. Today's episode is a fun one and an exciting one. We're talking about the top 20 rookies for fantasy hockey this year. Now guys, while I don't normally recommend drafting rookies in fantasy, this is definitely a fun video to go over, and there are definitely some names that are catching my eye this year as potential guys who can definitely go off in their rookie seasons. Notably, the guy behind me is a guy who's very exciting of a prospect, and I think everyone's excited to watch that first game, him against Sidney Crosby's Penguins. I know I definitely will be tuning in for that one. Now guys, if my video sounds a little bit weird in his voice, it's because I did spend the weekend at Lasso Fest Montreal, where there was a whole bunch of Montreal Canadians actually. Great country music festival. Suzuki was there, Josh Anderson was there, Arbor Jacki was there, Caden Gooley was there, plenty of Habs. It was pretty cool to see that actually. I had a lot of fun this weekend, met some really cool people, and yeah, I highly recommend the festival if you're ever in Montreal. Anyway guys, before we jump into it, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Trust me guys, you're not going to want to miss any of the preseason content I have in store for you guys, putting out videos every single day or two, so definitely be sure to hit that subscribe button. Without further ado, let's jump into our number 20 rookie, and that is Simon Edvinsson. Now when I'm assessing rookies guys, I'm looking at two big things: the opportunity that rookie is going to have and their talent level. Even if someone is incredibly talented, but the opportunity is not really there this year, they're not going to be super high on my list. That's just the way it ends up being for fantasy for hockey. This is not my list of the 20 most talented prospects. This is the 20 guys that I have the best chance of having fantasy value. Number 20 is Simon Edvinsson, and Edvinsson is a very good defenseman. However, both Seider and Gostisbehere are probably ahead of him in terms of likeliness to get power play 1 this year. So Edvinsson probably is not going to get a lot of points and therefore doesn't have a lot of fantasy value, despite him being a very good defenseman. Marco Rossi is someone who's disappointed me so far. Obviously, he had a whole year off for COVID a couple years ago. Last year, couldn't really crack the lineup, which is why he's still a rookie this year. Hopefully, he's made some strides over the offseason and hopefully makes the lineup this year and maybe could make some noise, but I'm not super high on him, and that's why I have him at number 19. And then I have Ty Kartze, who made his NHL debut in the playoffs last year and went on to collect 5 points in 10 games, which is fantastic for a rookie. This year, it'll be interesting to see where he slots in the lineup. I don't see him having too much fantasy value myself, but definitely could be wrong about this guy. He looked pretty good in the playoffs last year. Shane Wright, I have at number 17. Now, I don't know if Wright makes the NHL this year. Obviously, if he does, he could see top 6 minutes, right? And could make an impact. For now, I don't have my hopes too high with Shane Wright, but even if he does make the NHL, it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to get prime minutes. Now, personally, I don't have my hopes too high on him this year, but I definitely see him being an impactful player in the future. At number 16, I have Logan Stankoven, and his talent level is through the roof. Like, this guy is going to be a star in the NHL. The only thing is the opportunity. Is it there? Dallas's top 9 is really deep, and he's a center right now, and they already have Roope Hintz, Wyatt Johnston, and Tyler Seguin at center. Stankoven is very talented, but it's going to be difficult for him to make that roster. Now, even if Seguin moves to the wing or he moves to the wing, that would mean one of Robertson, Pavelski, Ben, Dadonov, Marchment, and Duchesne, who are the other guys in their top 9, would have to move down to the 4th line if there's no injuries, which doesn't seem that logical to me. Maybe Dadonov does it, but Stankoven would have to look really good in training camp for him to move down the lineup. Now, to me, if somebody gets injured, I think it's a no-brainer to bring him in the lineup, but for now, we'll have to wait and see how it shakes out, or if he just plays so well in training camp that they just have to play him. Next, we have Dustin Wolf of the Calgary Flame. Now, he's the best goaltending prospect in the league. Anybody who tells you differently is wrong. Dustin Wolf is the best goalie prospect in the league. And obviously, with how Markstrom played last year, if he starts the year like that again, the Flames may just give Dustin Wolf the crease and let him kind of run with it, see what he can do, see what he's made of. He's someone who's very intriguing, but as of right now, starts the season as the number 3 goalie, but honestly, if he impresses in training camp, they'll probably just trade or waive later and give Dustin Wolf at least a backup spot. Honestly, I have some pretty high hopes for him right now, but I'm ranking him at 15 for now, just because he doesn't have a starting position in the lineup locked in quite yet. At number 14, we have another Calgary Flame, Jacob Pelletier. He probably gets first or second line time this year. He's someone who can definitely take another step. If he does, he could definitely be fantasy viable, but I'm not drafting him until I know what he looks like in the preseason and what Calgary's lines are going to be. At number 13, we have Pavel Dorofeyev. He had 7 goals and 9 points in 18 games last year. He could get top 6 minutes again this year. I did project him in Vegas's lines to be a top 6 forward, so he definitely could make an impact. Let's see what he's made of this year. I'm not drafting him unless I'm in a super deep league in a super late round, but definitely someone who could make an impact this year. Adam Fantilli was the number 3 overall draft pick this year. He could be top 1 in Columbus, if not top 6. I love Fantilli, but I'm not getting overly excited for his rookie season in Columbus. But if all does go well, he definitely could have a little bit of fantasy value. I'm not seeing too much fantasy value, though, from him this year. Number 11 is Scott Perunovich. And this one might be wishful thinking, but I really hope I'm right here because this dude is a very good prospect. Spent most of the year injured last year, so he didn't play in the NHL at all. So he still qualifies as a rookie, and he's someone who's very explosive, could score a lot of points as a defenseman, which is really good. Now, St. Louis, on the defensive side, Torrey Krug has not been a very good power play quarterback the couple years that he's been there. Justin Falk has been all right, but he's more of a PP2 quarterback anyway. He does well with that PP2 time. If Scott Perunovich looks good in training camp, in preseason, they might just decide to slot him on their top power play, and he's someone who definitely could have some fantasy value if they do. Now, Luke Evangelista I have at number 10, and he's almost going to be for sure getting top 6 minutes and top power play minutes, probably with Philip Forsberg in Nashville. So this guy's got a really good opportunity ahead of him, and he looked pretty good near the end of the season last year when he first started playing in the league. Joseph Woll is an interesting one at number 9. I got him right now. I had him at number 4, and then suddenly Toronto goes out and signs Martin Jones. Now, I do believe that Woll will actually have to pass through waivers if they want to send him to the AHL. So they're kind of in a peculiar 3-goalie situation. Now, I don't think they're going to waive him. Well, I don't think they're stupid enough to do that. He's definitely a very talented goalie, and I thought that he may even take over for Samsonov if he plays well enough and Samsonov plays poorly enough or gets injured. Woll is definitely an intriguing goalie prospect, but with Martin Jones in there, it kind of throws a wrench in that. But most people seem to be thinking that Martin Jones might end up getting waived if he doesn't have just an amazing preseason, or they're going to rotate 3 goalies. So it's going to be interesting how that kind of shakes out. As of right now, I lowered him to number 9. I did have him at number 4, but I did lower him to number 9 for now just to be safe, because I'm not drafting Jim Woll just because of that situation there, unless I'm in a super deep league. And then once we know more about how it's going to shake up, I might reconsider Joseph Woll. Looking at number 8, Tyson Forrester. He looked amazing in the little amount of time he got in Philadelphia last year. 7 points in 8 games. Obviously, it's a super small sample size, but he's a very talented prospect. And if Philly, they have some smarts, they're going to give this kid top 6 minutes this year and see what he's made of. Number 7. Grant Clark, his talent is off the charts. He's an insane talent. Kings fans should be very excited. Unfortunately, though, Doughty has held down that power play 1 spot for many years. But if this kid looks good enough in training camp and in preseason, he might just take over that power play 1, and that's where he'll have value. Other than that, I don't see him having too much value unless he does take over that power play 1 spot. Same situation for Luke Hughes. Pretty much the exact same situation. He's an insane talent who will have to get power play 1 away from Dougie Hamilton. You'll have to rip that away from him. If he does, Luke Hughes can definitely have some fantasy value this year. I would not draft him where NHL has him at 122. That's crazy. But towards the end of your draft, if he's still available, he's someone that you might want to throw a dart at. Matthew Knies. And one word I have is Matthews. Yeah, if he plays with Matthews, his ceiling could be pretty high this year. He looked really good in the playoffs, scoring 4 points in 7 games, and he can definitely build on that his rookie season as long as he's playing in that top 6 in Toronto, because it's a pretty good top 6 up there, and definitely it does not hurt to play with Austin Matthews. Number 4, Joel Hofer. He looked incredible in the handful of games he played last year. I'm looking for him to take over that crease from Jordan Binnington this year. I think he's going to become their starting goalie, and he's someone that I'm really excited to see this year. At number 3, Logan Cooley. He could play with Keller and Schmaltz on the top line, but Hayton looked really good there last year, so I think they may not want to break that up. So I think it's more likely that he gets Zucker and Michelli, which is still a pretty good second line in Arizona, and this guy is insanely talented, so it'll be really exciting to see how he does. I wouldn't draft him at 149. I drafted him closer to the 200 mark if you want to really take a chance on him. I'm personally not drafting rookies, guys. It's not my style. I think it's a little bit too risky for me. However, he's definitely someone who could pay off if you do get him near the 200 mark. Devin Levi is an interesting one. At number 2 is where I got him. He's the number 1 guy in Buffalo right now. The only problem is that there are 3 goalies over there right now. Either way, I do think he's going to see about half the starts over there than UPL. and Comrie are going to, kind of split the rest. As long as Levi can play well and prove that he deserves a spot in the NHL, he should stay in the NHL on Buffalo. If in preseason he doesn't look all that great, they might just elect to start him in the AHL, which is why he's a little bit risky of a pick. So personally, I don't think I'm going to be drafting Levi, especially not that early, but I don't think he's a bad pick, and he's definitely someone who could win the Calder if he plays to his full potential. And then finally, guys, you all knew who was going to be number one. Connor Bedard. He is an insanely talented prospect, probably going to be as good as the McDavids, the Crosbys. Temper the expectation, guys, for his rookie season, but he's a hell of a talent in the NHL, and he's going to be a lot of fun to watch for many, many, many years. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching all the way through. This is the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, and if you haven't subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button. It's absolutely free, and trust me, you're going to want to be subscribed for all the content I'm going to be dropping to help you guys with your fantasy drafts. Thanks again, guys, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.